Becoming a millionaire is something that a lot of people are striving for. So I want to give you some guidance if you're at that stage when you're starting a business, or maybe you already have some momentum with your business. I want to explain some more of my journey and what helped me to get that initial momentum, make that first $1 million. I was back in Poland at that point. I would just moved with my wife. I just got married. I didn't have any skills. I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't speak any English at that point of time, still speaking with accent. And I was working this crappy job, in the factory, making $2 per hour, making these little things for Oktoberfest, like glasses that you drink beer. You're sitting in that closed factory all day, right? You're dirty. You're only going outside a few times a day just to breathe some fresh air. Eventually, it's kind of accumulated. And I think it came to this tipping point where I just cannot take it anymore. And so I feel like a lot of people are living this kind of life where they either do the job that they don't enjoy, right? They're just kind of going every day. They're hating their job. They don't like people that they work with. Maybe they don't like their boss, but they're still doing it because they need to put food on the table. One thing that I realized, if I'm going to do this transition, that it will be painful at first, and I had to adjust certain things. I had to learn some new skills that I didn't have before. Having an office, for instance, like I'm having right now, that was a dream for me. That's all I want. I didn't even think about $1 million. That was even not within my kind of mindset at that point of time. But I knew that I needed to do something different. And so one day I'm coming from work. I have all of my clothes in this bag, from my job that they're dirty as fuck. And I'm passing this, little garbage can. And so I take all of those dirty clothes and I just put them in a garbage can. I called the guy that I was working for and, I say hey, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the job that you gave me, but I'm not coming back, right? I basically quit. That was the starting point. And that was super painful. And what I realized at the point of time is that I'm up to some serious challenge. What I decided to do was, number one, when I was still working my job, I was not spending any money. I know that a lot of people, they're working 9-to-5 jobs, even they don't like the job, but they would go and take that extra money they're making. And people would go and buy the fucking iPhone. People would go and buy clothes. People would go and buy a car. I didn't do any of that stuff. Right? I was just saving money because I knew that if I save money, that is my ticket. That will give me some time, at least some extra time to figure things out and find some alternative paths to get out of this hole. You have to understand the first step is saving the money. Saving the money. Don't spend money on some dumb shit. I know this, say, if my expense is $2,000 per month, I knew that every $2,000 buys me another month covering my expenses, providing for my wife, putting food on the table. Step number 2, I have no job. I have no source of income whatsoever. I just decided that I want to do something on the internet. I didn't know what to do. I'm going to do something on the internet. I had no idea what I'm going to do. And I just locked myself in the room. I had some friends that I was associating with, but I just cut those people. Not cut hey, I don't want to talk to you anymore. But if they want to invite me for a beer, they want to invite me to meet up, I would refuse all of those invitations. I would be just dialed in, sitting all day in my room with my wife. We rented this small room, about $300 per month back in Warsaw. I had to figure out first how to speak fucking English because I knew that English was my ticket. I immersed myself into English movies, American movies. And then I figured out that, I had some friends that were freelancing, and those freelancers, they're making $2,000 per month. And I'm shit, if I can make $2,000 per month working from my home, right? Not having to be covered in dirt all day, that is a big win. That was my initial objective. I was learning some skills. I went to Elance. Right now it's called Upwork. Every single day I'm learning. I'm learning different courses, YouTube. Right now there's so much more information than it was back then. But still, there were tutorials. I'm learning tutorials. I'm watching courses. I'm watching this. I'm accumulating all this knowledge. So you have to understand that if you're new to, let's say, e-commerce and you want to become successful in e-commerce, initially there is a big learning curve and you have to immerse yourself into everything e-commerce related. Watch trainings, courses, videos, tutorials, right? You have to, if you have the ability to invest into mentorships and coaching or some courses, paid courses, you have to invest in that because you want to just accumulate as much information as possible so that you become good at it. And so that's what I did. And so initially I became like a freelancer, right? So I would apply for different jobs on Upwork. I would just, make personalized videos. So everyone would be lazy and just do like copy paste templates to everyone. Like on Upwork, people would just literally, hello, sir, dear, hello, dear. Like I would be like personalizing every fucking video to every person, to every job that I was applying for. Soon enough, I started to get, some responses. People started, okay, cool. So what do you have to offer? And like, I started to get some jobs. Initially were like shitty jobs. I was a VA. I still have my Upwork profile somewhere where I was a VA. You could have hired me for $8 per hour. That initially was hard, but then over time, it started to get like momentum. I started to work with better clients. And then I stumbled across e-commerce. One of the clients that I was working for, he was doing drop shipping. And when he was doing drop shipping, I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. Because the previous client was doing actually buying inventory, and he was buying a lot of that inventory from Japan, sending all of that inventory to United States. So it was relatively complex business, and he invested, tens of thousands of dollars to start that business. And I just realized dropshipping is so much better. Dropshipping is so fucking good because you don't have to spend all of that money. And so I was running ads for this client, basically driving ads to his e-commerce store. And I just saw, his sales exploded because it was, very low competition at that point of time. And I realized, okay, so I know how to run ads. I know where to source the products. And I knew how to build basic websites, right? So I knew kind of like all of the skills that I thought I needed to have at that point of time. And so I launched my first store, didn't do well. I launched my second, didn't do well. And then I hit my first successful store. That first store, I scaled to over $4 million. Like it was life-changing. But kind of like what was before all of that, right, was the full immersion in the process, was full immersion into learning, and was just cutting all of the distractions. I wasn't communicating much with my parents at that point of time because they were thinking I was working in the factory. I didn't want to disappoint them. Like if I would say like, oh, I quit my job, I'm not working in the factory anymore, they would be disappointed. I started to do well for myself. I started to scale that store, did $4 million in the first year, like more than a year, like in business. It made about $1 million in profit. But when I was making that $1 million in profit, again, I was not spending that money on Lamborghinis. Like people make their first $10,000 and they spend it all on Lamborghini. They go and rent cars, they go traveling like wild. Again, the mindset was, how can I buy myself more time? How can I buy myself more time where I can cover all of my living expenses for me and my wife? And at some point of time, I had like seven figures like in my bank account. I also sold my store. I got very lucky. I sold my store for another $1 million. So I had like $2 million. I had pretty good like net worth at that point of time. Again, I was not spending any money whatsoever. The only thing that I would spend money on was like education, because I realized that, okay, I can learn something in a year, right? Some specific skill, or like 6 months. What if I can learn that skill in like 1 month? I made a lot of mistakes, when I had the money. Like my mistake was that I was not reinvesting that money, fast enough, right? I had millions of dollars just sitting, and I was not investing that money, which is, topic for another conversation, for another video. But for this one, I just want to share with you, if you're struggling, if you're in the bottom right now, or maybe you're kind of like having some momentum with your business, just prioritize what's important, right? Prioritize. And you'd have to make some sacrifices short term in order to make something successful long term. So could be cutting your friends, maybe communicating less with your parents if they're not very supportive of what you do. You'd have to make some sacrifices, and you'll probably have to upset some people, right? So that's what a lot of people did. Kind of like, they want to be compliant, they want to be friends with everyone, they don't want to refuse if someone invites them for a beer or to go to the club. I was okay with all of those because I knew that the bigger picture, the bigger goal is for me to provide for my family, for me to secure the financial future so that I can help those people, right? If they ask for help, here's the opportunity, here's a job, here's some money if you need some urgent money or something like that. And that allowed me to build that initial momentum. That allowed me to just like sleep well at night, right? When you have good cushion, when you have good war chest, when you have money to pay for your expenses for years, you're not as stressed out, because like, okay, if you get fired from the job or something happens to you, you know that at least your family is taken care of for some period of time. And so I was buying time. So I would highly recommend, if you on that journey, if you wanted something better for yourself, just realize that money that you accumulate is your ticket. It's like you have to first learn how to save money. Don't blow it on some stupid shit. You'd have to make some sacrifices in the short term in order to make success long term. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I hope you get value from it. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll try to do more videos like this where kind of like share some episodes from my life and some of the lessons that I have learned on different stages of my business, of my personal development and stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.